Would you accept hand sanitizer from a smiling taxi driver? I did, and hours later I woke up strapped to a table, one kidney gone. This isn't an urban legend, this is the most terrifying night of my life. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. The safety tips at the end could literally save your life. My name is Scott, and this is the most terrifying experience of my life. It happened in Bogotá, Colombia, a city that holds dark secrets after sunset. I had just endured a brutal red-eye flight from Washington, D.C. You know the kind. Neck twisted like a pretzel, eyes burning from recycled airplane air, running on 2 hours of sleep and terrible airline coffee. All I wanted was to collapse into a hotel bed. Stumbling through Dorado Airport's exit doors, I was hit by that wall of humid Bogotá air. The terminal buzzed with activity, families reuniting, business travelers, and taxi drivers calling out to confused tourists. That's when I made my first mistake. But before I tell you what that mistake was, have you ever been so exhausted that you ignored your gut instincts? Drop a comment below, because what happened next could happen to anyone. Among the chaos of competing taxi drivers, one man caught my attention. He wasn't like the others aggressively shouting prices. This guy was different. Well-dressed, clean white shirt, pressed pants, genuine leather shoes. He had a warm, grandfatherly smile and spoke English with just a hint of accent. "You need a ride, amigo?" he asked with the confidence of someone who belonged there. "I give you good price, very safe." I'd traveled extensively for work. I knew the rules. Use official transportation, trust your instincts. But exhaustion makes you stupid. It makes you take shortcuts you'd never normally consider. This driver seemed professional, almost protective. He was older, maybe 60, with a face that reminded me of my own grandfather. 30,000 pesos to the hotel district, he offered. About $8. Reasonable, maybe too reasonable, but my brain was too fried to process that red flag. What would you have done? Tired, in a foreign country, faced with what seemed like a legitimate taxi driver. Hold that thought. I followed him to his car, a white sedan that looked clean and well-maintained. The interior smelled like vanilla air freshener mixed with leather cleaner. Everything seemed normal, legitimate even. As we pulled out, he started making small talk. "First time in Bogotá. Washington is very cold now, yes? You will like our weather here." I found myself relaxing. He talked about weather, asked how long I was staying, even recommended restaurants in the Zona Rosa district. "You be careful in the city," he said, his voice taking on a fatherly tone. "Many bad people looking to take advantage of tourists. You stay in good areas. You be fine." The irony would hit me later. About 10 minutes in, navigating through evening traffic, he reached back with a small plastic bottle, the kind you'd buy at any pharmacy. "Mucho germen en la ciudad," he said, shaking it slightly. "Many germs in the city. You use this, stay healthy. Hand sanitizer." The bottle looked completely normal. Clear liquid, typical pump dispenser, legitimate-looking brand label. Nothing suspicious. Here's where I need to ask, if a trustworthy taxi driver offered you hand sanitizer, would you use it? Because what happened next changed everything. I squirted a generous amount into my palms and rubbed it in thoroughly. It felt normal, smelled normal, maybe slightly different than I was used to, but nothing alarming. That's when my world started unraveling. At first, it was subtle, a slight heaviness in my eyelids, like fighting sleep during a long movie. I attributed it to travel exhaustion. Then my tongue felt thick, like Novocaine wearing off. City lights outside began to blur and smear across the glass like watercolors. I tried to ask if we were close to my hotel, but my voice came out as a cracked whisper. Words felt trapped in my throat. That's when I heard the sound that still haunts my nightmares. The electronic click of car door locks engaging. Click. The driver hadn't touched any visible button. The locks had engaged automatically, sealing me inside. As my vision blurred and my body became unresponsive, terrifying clarity cut through the fog. This wasn't exhaustion. This wasn't jet lag. I had been drugged. The driver, so talkative minutes before, fell completely silent. When I caught his eyes in the rearview mirror, the warm expression had vanished. His face was cold, professional, calculating. I tried reaching for my phone, but my arms felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds each. My fingers wouldn't respond. It was like being trapped in my own body, conscious but powerless. Have you ever had that nightmare where you try to run but can't move? Imagine that, but awake, knowing something terrible is about to happen. The last thing I remember was the driver making a phone call. Rapid Spanish, too fast for my deteriorating comprehension, but his tone was businesslike, efficient. He was reporting in. Then everything went black. When consciousness crept back, I wasn't in a hotel or taxi. I was lying on a cold metal surface under blindingly bright lights, harsh, clinical lighting like a hospital operating room, but this didn't feel legitimate. My wrists and ankles were restrained with medical restraints. I could feel leather straps cutting into my skin when I tried to move. My mind was screaming, but my body was still largely unresponsive. I heard voices, multiple people speaking quick, clinical Spanish. Medical terms mixed with logistical planning. A monitor beeped steadily nearby. What would you be thinking? Trapped, helpless, surrounded by people discussing you like an object rather than a human being? Then I felt it. Sharp, burning pain along my left side just below my rib cage. It started as pressure, then escalated to searing pain that cut through the lingering drug effects. Next, I felt cold air hitting my face and rough concrete beneath my back. I was outside on what felt like a sidewalk. Different voices surrounded me, concerned rather than clinical. Dios mío, ¿qué le pasó? Alguien dijo. My God, what happened to him? Hands lifted me onto a gurney. I was wheeled quickly through automatic doors. I was in a real hospital now. Nurses and doctors crowded around, checking vitals, asking questions I couldn't answer. The smell of disinfectant was somehow comforting after the nightmare. One doctor, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, leaned over me. She spoke English with a heavy accent, but her words were clear and devastating. Sir, you are safe now, but I need to tell you something very serious. She paused, struggling with how to deliver the news. You are missing a kidney. The words didn't compute. Missing a kidney? What did that mean? Someone has performed surgery on you, she continued, her voice heavy with disbelief. It was done skillfully. You will survive, but you will need ongoing medical care. As reality sank in, I checked for other losses. My wallet, still there, thick with cash and credit cards. My passport, untouched in my jacket. My watch, phone, even my bag had made it to the hospital. They hadn't wanted my money or identity documents. They had wanted something far more valuable, something I could never replace. Can you imagine discovering that a vital organ you were born with was just gone? Stolen while you were unconscious? Over the following days, recovering in that hospital, the full scope became clear. I had fallen victim to organ tourism, a sophisticated criminal network targeting foreign visitors, especially solo travelers. The substance was likely scopolamine, known locally as devil's breath, derived from a Colombian plant used by criminals for decades. It makes victims compliant in small doses, causes unconsciousness in larger ones. What makes scopolamine terrifying is that it's nearly undetectable, colorless, odorless, tasteless. It can be mixed into drinks, blown as powder, or dissolved into something as innocent as hand sanitizer. The doctor explained that organized crime rings have turned organ harvesting into sophisticated operations. They target tourists because we're less likely to be immediately missed, often don't speak the language well enough to report crimes effectively, and typically leave quickly, reducing investigation chances. You are very lucky, she said. Many people never wake up, or wake up missing much more than one kidney. I survived, obviously, but the physical scar along my left side is nothing compared to the psychological scars. I spent 2 weeks in that hospital with medical bills over $15,000. For months after returning home, I couldn't sleep properly. I'd wake in cold sweats, checking my body for missing parts. I developed severe travel anxiety. Simple things like accepting mints or using public restrooms became panic sources. If you're still watching, share this video with someone you care about who travels internationally. What I'm about to tell you could save their life. Scopolamine crimes aren't urban legends. Colombian authorities report thousands of cases yearly in Bogotá alone, just the reported ones. Criminals use devil's breath for robberies, sexual assault, human trafficking, and organ harvesting. Here's what you need to know. Never accept anything from strangers. Not drinks, food, gum, or sanitizer. The criminals are professional actors. Use only official airport transportation. There's an official taxi counter inside El Dorado terminal where you register trips and get receipts with driver information. Use ride-sharing apps when available. Digital trails and GPS tracking make crimes harder. Travel with others when possible. Criminals target solo travelers. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Your safety is worth more than politeness. I'm sharing this not to scare you from traveling. The world is amazing. I'm sharing it because knowledge is power, and awareness is your best defense. The people who drugged me and stole my kidney count on travelers being naive and unprepared. Don't let them win. Before you go, subscribe and hit that notification bell for regular travel safety content. Leave a comment about your travel experiences. Have you encountered something suspicious? What safety measures do you always take? Every time you share this story, you're potentially saving someone from my nightmare. You're turning my experience into something positive. It all started with a simple offer of sanitizer. That was my first mistake. Don't let it be yours, because the next time you wake up in a foreign country, you might not wake up whole.